Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Em, and normally this is the time of the month where I would be starting my ketchup and pickles vlog, but I don't really feel like doing it this month. But I also have not done a good job of reading my TBR for this month either, so I need to do something in order to make some progress because this is what I am currently left with. And I have 6 days left of the month. And then I also have a couple books that were not on my TBR, but I also would like to get to. So we're going to be embarking upon a little reading challenge, and I'm going to be attempting to read 200 pages a day until the end of July, which seems like a bad idea. I don't know if I can do it. I haven't done a good job of just reading this month. I am very easily distracted. Once I sit down and read, it's great. It goes wonderfully. I love it. I'm living my best life, but actually sitting down and reading has been really challenging. So we're gonna see if we can fix that. I'm gonna see if I can fix that by setting the very lofty challenge of reading 200 pages a day. It does feel like I'm setting myself up for disaster, I'm not gonna lie. But the remaining books I have on my TBR, I'm just gonna talk about the elephant in the room real fast. I am not gonna finish Day of Fallen Night by the end of the month. I recognize this. This is just to continue to make some progress because I've only gotten, have I gotten 50 pages? Oh, I'm exactly 50 pages in to this like 800 page chunker, 868 pages. So I am going to be reading this for a while. This is coming into August with me. I know this. That is fine. But I would like to, I don't know, maybe get to page 100. That also seems lofty, but it's there. Another book that I pulled out of my TBR jar, I pulled Day of Fallen Night. My feelings were hurt. I also pulled The Witness of the Dead. Can you even see that? By Catherine Addison. I don't know where the cover is. It's somewhere. And I have started it and have also not made any progress. I didn't remember Catherine Addison's writing being dense, but this feels kind of dense. And I don't know if I have big girl brain this right now to read this, but I would like to. I also haven't started my Octavia E. Butler book yet. I still have to read Parable of the Talents. It's a little bit chunkier than Parable of the Sower is. That was kind of a surprise, but I do need to read this by the end of the month because that is my challenge for myself. I need to also read Hio the Hellmaker, which I am reading because my oldest read it and loved it and really wants me to read it and talk to them about it. It is an illustrated novel, so I'm hoping it'll read fast, but I do need to read this. It's also chunky. And then I need to read Poverty by America for the Betty Pages Challenge Yourself reading challenge. This is not thick, but I think this is going to make me mad. That's the required reading. I have to finish those by the end of the month. I don't know what's going to happen if I don't, but I just need to. So let's not try to find out. I should just read them and then I don't have to find out what's going to happen. And then if I'm a superhuman and I have time to read other things, I started A Far Better Thing by H.G. Perry and softy enoughed it, but I would like to make more progress. I checked out The Wolf Den from the library after seeing my friend Katie on Instagram absolutely rave about this series. I do think this is going to be out of my comfort zone because I think this is literary fiction, like ancient civilization type stuff. Samantha Shannon is the blurb on the back. That's kind of funny. Set in Pompeii. Yeah. So outside of my comfort zone. I don't really do literary fiction very often, and I don't really venture into historical fiction outside of romances, so I don't know if I'll like this, but I have it, and I'd like to try it. And then I have an arc for Freya Marsk's new novella that comes out in October called Cinderhouse. Cinderella retelling. It's itty-bitty, so that would be nice. This would not even fulfill my 200 pages a day requirement. So that's what I'm starting with. It is currently Thursday. I am going to spend today trying to finish the book that I'm reading for another vlog project so that tomorrow we can start, sorry, I had to sneeze. So that we can start this reading challenge bright and early Friday morning, and that gives me 6 days to try to get through as much of this lofty TBR as possible. I'm gonna try so hard not to have this happen again in August. I don't even know how to fix it. Maybe if I put like 5 books on my TBR, that will help, because apparently 8 books on my TBR, it's too much. But yeah, that's the plan. Thank you for being here. Wish me luck. I don't have any faith in myself, but that's okay. We're gonna try anyways. Okay, welcome to the vlog. I'll see you tomorrow. first day of this ridiculous reading challenge. It is not even noon though, and I have just read a little over 200 pages. I needed to get to page 212 in order to finish the chapter, and there were some intense things happening in this chapter. So where to even begin with this? Hio, our main character, she and her brother, okay, it's a lot of Japanese names, so bear with me. I'm just not very familiar with them, and remembering them is really stretching my brain, which is not a bad thing. It just bear with me as I reference the book a lot to remember all these different people. But Hio is our main character, and she lives in this village with her brother, her older brother, whose name is Mansaku, and their families are hellmakers, which means that they can talk to ghosts, and if a ghost asks for help, they're like duty bound to assist them. And if a ghost comes her way with a particular death, she is also duty bound to investigate that death in order to solve the murder and to avenge the ghost. So anyways, Heo and Mansaku, they end up going to this other village in search of a friend of theirs, and when they get there, they discover very quickly that he has been killed, and it sets us on, basically it's a murder mystery investigation. But in this city that they go to, the gods are, oh, just a minute. Okay, sorry, text from my husband about the children. Anyways, what was I saying? And yeah, so, in this city, the gods are very much mixed up with human lives. And I actually think there's a square for Reddit Fantasy Bingo that is like a god or pantheons. And like this would fit into that really nicely. So these gods are mixed up in everybody's business, and there's all these rules for how to interact with them. And this is a really complex world, I feel like the way the gods work and the way names are used, but you have to know, like, if you know like both a god's heavenly name and their earthly name, you can have a lot of control over them. And there's a lot going on. So this is fairly in-depth, fairly expansive world, and not surprised at all. Like, I know YA can be just like, sometimes I think YA does world building and character development better than adult books do, and I think this is definitely, like, for a debut, oh my gosh, this is stunning. My complaint is with Scholastic. Do you see how like little flop there is to this book? It is painful to hold for long periods of time, but I love the art. I love the illustrations. Story's really interesting. At 200 pages, I'm finally feel like I'm getting a grasp on this world building and what is happening, though I am still a little confused about who everyone is, especially since the gods have like a heavenly name, an earthly name, and then a lot of them are given nicknames, because if you say their heavenly name, it can like call them to you. So in doing this like murder mystery investigation and trying to figure out what happened to their friend, like they're trying not to say the gods' names because they don't want to tip them off. And then, yeah, so there's lots of twists, lots of turns. It's very creepy in certain parts. There's a lot of monsters. Anyways, very fun. Surprisingly funny at times. Like, there was a scene where Hio and her brother were at this apartment that they're going to be staying in temporarily, and the landlord walked in like very boisterously, and one of them was like, oh no, an extrovert. And then there was another scene where they were talking to one of the gods, and he got angry, and the god got angry and smashed the table and broke it, and Mansaku was like, oh, that poor table, we only just got it. And the god felt so bad about breaking the table. It was kind of funny. So it's got a good mix of like adventure, mystery, danger, creepiness, humor. I can definitely see why this appealed to my oldest. So now that I've gotten to my 200 pages, I have other things I need to do. I just realized though that I don't really have any audiobooks for any of the books that I have on my TBR, which is definitely gonna make this reading challenge like even harder, because all I can do is read with my eyeballs. And I checked, and there's not even an audiobook for Hio. So I'm glad that it's a quick read, because I read for a solid like hour and a half, maybe 2 hours this morning. I woke up before the kids did. And then I've just been reading spurts and starts, starts and fits, starts and stops. I can't remember what the expression is, but it's just been really broken up the rest of the day. But it's easy to jump into and out of, easy to pick up where I left off. I will probably read a little bit more throughout the day, but for now I have a video that I need to go edit and other things that I need to do, and so that's what I'm going to focus on. But we're off to a great start. I don't think this is going to be sustainable for every day, but maybe it will be, and that would be amazing. But for now, I'm just happy that we're off to such a strong start. Morning, friends. It's Saturday. I'm feeling a little bit out of it today. I'm a little tired, a little out of sorts. I left the house to go have coffee by myself, and I don't know. It wasn't the cozy time I wanted it to be. Honestly, I feel a little bit like I could start crying, and I don't know why. Like, there's no reason. There's literally no reason other than, I don't know, I'm just having a day. But I've gotten through 100 pages so far today. So I have 100 more to go. It is harder to focus today. I'm definitely getting distracted a little bit more easily and just paying attention to everything else except for the book. But I got 100 pages in. I read a little bit extra last night before bed, and then I just had to read a little over 100 pages to get to the end of a chapter. So I'm on page 332. I need to get to 426 today, which if I get that far, I'm almost done with the book. I'll have to read a little extra to finish out the chapter, and then I'll only have like this much left. So I'll definitely be able to start something new tomorrow. So I'll have to start thinking about what that's going to be. And I need to be strategic because I think I'm going to want an audiobook. So I'm going to have to think about whether I troll Libby and see if anything is available to borrow that's already on my TBR, or if I resubscribe to Everand for another month and do that. But I fell into the trap once I started BookTube of feeling like when I was reading a book, I needed that book in every single medium that it was available in. So if I was reading it physically, I also needed to have the ebook, and then I also needed the audiobook, so that no matter what situation I was in, I had the book ready to go. And I don't. It's okay. Only read a book physically, or only listen to a book audibly, and just to have what I have. I don't need every medium of every book, and I don't need every book I'm interested in instantaneously. Like, I'm trying to retrain my brain that like not getting what I want the minute I want it is okay. Getting it at all is also okay, and I will persevere and it will be fine. I really fell into the overconsumption trap of BookTube, or just being on social media in general, really easily, and not without even really realizing it, and to course correct now. So I mainly want an audiobook because I do have to drive a little bit tomorrow because I'm taking my oldest over to my mom's house so that they can have some one-on-one time, and I will be in the car for a little bit by myself, and having an audiobook would be nice, or would be ideal. But if not, like, it's okay. I'll make it work. I just gotta see what my options are. I'm sure I have an audiobook I want to listen to, even if it's not on the TBR I set for this video. But I'm still really liking this. Yeah, this about the book. Let's talk about the book. I'm still really liking this. It continues to be a little bit funny, very adventurous. I'm really enthralled with this world building. I definitely don't get all of it. Like, I think it's really complex. It feels complex anyways, just because of the gods and all the multi-names and the rules that Hio has to follow for being a hellmaker, and the history of her family being hellmakers. Like, at the beginning of every chapter, we get a quote from like a previous hellmaker, like whether it's like the 6th generation or the 22nd or whatever. And I want more about Hio's family's history of being hellmakers. I think that's fascinating. And we're getting more into the murder mystery. There's not a whole lot more I can tell you without it getting into spoilers, but this is really fun. It's a really fun book. I'm really excited to see what Mina Ikemoto Ghosh writes next, because this is very cool. I just continue to wish that Scholastic had a floppier binding situation, because this is impossible to hold with one hand, and definitely hurts after a while. So that's my only complaint. Probably also why I am wishing for an audiobook, because then I wouldn't have to hold it. But then I'd miss the illustrations. And the illustrations are so cool. I like them so much. They evoke so much feeling and emotion. And like, that's there in the writing. But the art just adds extra to it, and it can be so subtle, and then it can also just like set an entire vibe for what's happening. I'm interested to see, we've got a lot going on with like who can Hio trust, who's telling the truth, who's lying for selfish reasons, who's lying to save themselves. I probably shouldn't be looking at the pictures further in the book because I'll probably spoil myself or something, but really liking it and having a good time. The plan for today, because I don't want to feel like this all day, is I'm going to go home, spend some time with my kids because they were definitely like needing a lot of attention this morning. And I'm glad I left because it was making me feel a little claustrophobic. So I definitely needed like some time to myself. But I'm going to go home, spend some time with them. I'm going to drop the twins off. They're doing D&D this afternoon for like 5 hours. So I'm going to drop them off to do that around lunchtime. And then I think I'm going to go to the gym because my husband and my youngest have plans for this afternoon, so they won't miss me if I'm not there. And hopefully, because I haven't been prioritizing working out for like 2 weeks now, getting some exercise. I'm not going to go too hard, but I think I am going to ignore my workout routine because this is maybe too much like non-bookish information. I do pretty much the same 2 workouts all the time. I alternate. Well, there's 4. Okay, let's start over. I do the same workouts on a fairly regular basis. The goal being, when I am in my routine, if I'm doing similar workouts every time, that I can up my weight quicker than if I'm constantly mixing up what I'm doing. However, I am also a person who gets bored very easily. And I feel like there are so many reasons why I haven't gone to the gym for the last 2 weeks. But one of them, a minor one, but one of them has been that I'm kind of bored with my routine. So I think I'm going to go and at least like hop on the elliptical, because I never go on the elliptical anymore, and get some movement and then see how that feels. And then maybe just do something different and not follow my routine and see how that feels. And just see what I feel like lifting at the gym. And then we'll see how that feels. And just hopefully that will kind of like restart how I feel about today. But we'll see. But yeah, that's a perfect example where like, oh, an audiobook would come in super handy. But it's fine. I'll make it work. This book continues to be so funny. They just came back into the house and something happened. And Mansaku has blood on him. And Hio is like, sit down, I'll help you clean up. And he goes, I'm a big boy. I can wash my own blood stains. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but I do. Good morning. I made my 200 pages yesterday. It's Sunday, by the way, if that matters for the timeline of this video. And then I finished Hio and the Hellmaker just now. I only had about 48 pages left, so I've only read 48 pages. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I had a really good time. I thought this was really creative, really enjoyable, very complex world building. This is like a fantastic debut. It is very loosely like Japanese inspired. There's an author's note in the back about how this is primarily a fantasy novel and the author is British Japanese. And so she just played with the Japanese parts. Like she just took parts from her Japanese heritage that she liked and then integrated it into this fantasy world. But I thought it was really fun. And I'm really glad I read it. So now, moving on, I think I'm going to pivot and I'm going to start bouncing in between 2 books because I think these are the 2 books that I feel need to be prioritized the most this week. And that's Parable of the Talents and Poverty by America. So not happy fun books, but books that I definitely, like, I have to finish this by the end of the month, and I really want to read Poverty by America. I've been putting it off because I think it's going to make me really mad. Probably is. I just need to read it. So these are what I'm going to bounce back and forth from today. I have, like I said, 152 pages still to read for today, and it's like almost 9 o'clock. We do have things I need to do this morning, so the reading's going to be, I think, spread out a little bit more throughout today rather than just like trying to bust it all out in the morning. I wish I had audiobooks for one of these, but I don't. So I'm going to try to make do. I think this will be a fast read. Parable of the Sower was a really fast read, so I think this one will be too, but I also had the audiobook for Parable of the Sower. But this is dystopian. Obviously, it's the last book in a duology, and I'd had some familiarity with Parable of the Sower because I'd read the graphic novel adaptation, but I don't know where the story goes after that first book, and I'm really interested to see what happens to Lauren and this like community of people she collected in the first book. And then Poverty by America is nonfiction, and it's just about like how the United States is one of the richest countries in the world and we have the most poverty in the world. Is that right? More poverty than any other advanced democracy. And goes into why. I think I'm gonna get mad. That's okay. I can be mad. So that's the plan for today. I will try to come back and update you later today instead of just like ghosting the vlog for the rest of the day like I've kind of been doing. And hopefully after I do all my busy morning things, I get a good chunk of reading in the afternoon, because that would be lovely. All right, it's multiple hours later, and I've done a little bit more reading. I'm not even at 100 pages yet. Like when I combine everything, I'm only at maybe 82, and it's just after 1 o'clock, which makes me a little bit nervous. I do have to run to the grocery store and get some stuff for dinner and get some snacks for my kids to take to their D&D stuff this afternoon, but I will have to do that soon. So I don't know how much more reading time I'm going to get in, but I'm trying to alternate chapters, which I've done like 1.5 rounds of so far, and it's working pretty well. I'd forgotten how long chapters are in the Parable books, but this has started off really interestingly. We've time jumped a little bit, and Parable of the Sower is told through journal entries that Lauren has made as she is existing. And this one we start with a journal entry from Lauren's child talking about their perception of their mother as like a religious leader or a cult leader, and kind of their negative impact in that, and what they have heard from stories of what she was like in the community when they first got to where they were going at the end of the first book. And then there's also like an article or a paper written by their dad, who we met in book 1, and then we're also still getting journal entries from Lauren. I really like the additions of the journal entries from Lauren's kid. That is adding a real level of interest for me in this one. I think that's really an interesting wrinkle, and I'm really glad she did that. And I'm liking it so far. I think I might like this more than I liked Parable of the Sower. It does feel more prescient than Parable of the Sower did, but I think that totally makes sense for what was going on politically. Okay, I've been interrupted by a child so many times, I don't even know what I was saying. I think I wanted to say that it feels more prescient than Sower did, but I think it's because of what was going on politically, like right before, I mean, really, it's like the whole history of the United States, I mean, is informing this book. This was published in 1998, but I know from other like American democracy books that I've read lately that the current political playbook for certain people in power is not new. It is one that Republicans have used multiple times throughout history. And so she is saying words and phrases that you will hear in a 2025 news cycle, but it's not because like she was particularly like seeing the future. It's because everything is cyclical and Republicans are using the same arguments and catchphrases and things that they used in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And so there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, how did she know that? And then I have to remember myself. It's like, okay, it's because history is cyclical and we're like going through the same things all over again, which is so frustrating on so many levels. On the related note, I've only read the introduction because it was only 8 pages and I haven't finished the second chapter of this yet, so I haven't been able to like flop over to this one yet. Matthew Desmond is basically just giving you his thesis statement for this book, and it was easy to read and it was well written, and I think that while this definitely will make me mad and frustrated, that it will be very easy to read is my first impression off of the synopsis. So that's the plan. I'm just going to keep alternating because I think that it's fun. It breaks it up. It keeps me engaged. It keeps me from getting bored. And I definitely have flighty brain today where staying focused on something for any length of time is challenging. I'm choosing to blame congestion because I still kind of have that like cold brain fog feeling, and hopefully that will just get better as we go along. But I am gonna pause, even though I haven't read that much, but I'm gonna pause because I don't know if you can tell, but like the house is so cluttered. There's just stuff everywhere and it's making it hard for me to sit down and relax. and focus because I'm just thinking about like all the messes that need to clean up. So I'm gonna take a minute, I'm gonna go clean up all that stuff, probably run to the grocery store, and then hopefully my husband will take the kids to D&D, and then I can just maybe sit down and read for like an hour, which is really all I want to do. Flighty brain. Good morning, friends. It's Monday. Full disclosure, I failed to meet my goal yesterday. I got 268 pages, but I was too tired to keep my sleepy, eepy eyeballs open any longer, so I didn't make it, but that's okay. The goal today is to read 100 pages in both of these books. I slept in this morning because I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. It's summer. I've been staying up too late and then still trying to wake up at 5 a.m. and that just doesn't work. I'm too old for that. So the goal is to read 100 pages of each. I think I've read one chapter of each. And I'm like mid-chapter on this one so far today. Again, we'll see how it goes. I have a meeting with my boss in a little bit, but that should be pretty short. That's the only work I have to do today. I already posted for the bookstore, and then we are meeting friends at a park later this afternoon. We are going to try and get there a little bit earlier though, so I can like read outside at the playground because that sounds like a good time. I'll probably only bring Parable there. I won't bring both. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can maintain that 200 pages a day, even though it's no longer the weekend. That's usually where lofty reading goals fall apart, is when we get into the work week. I'm not able to maintain what I was able to maintain over the weekend. But theoretically, with not having to teach this week, I should be able to do it. But we'll see. Alright friends, it is very early Tuesday morning. I literally just woke up, so we'll see if the thoughts go in order. I'm also trying to use my mic since I'm trying to be quiet, so we'll see how this works. I did not quite meet my goal yesterday. Again, I came so close, but once again I was undone by just how tired I was at the end of the day. I read 96 pages of Parable of the Talents yesterday, and I only read 60 pages of Poverty by America. So not bad, just not my goal. I am still really liking Parable of the Talents. I'm just about halfway through. I like that we're getting multiple perspectives kind of in this one. I like that we're starting each chapter with commentary from Lauren's daughter about her mother and just what type of mother she turned out to be and how her choices affected her daughter. And then I really just like what's happening in this one better than I liked Sower. Sower is very much kind of not a road trip, but it's more of like a journey story because they are traveling on foot from Southern California to Northern California, like just about to Oregon. So they're very much like journeying throughout that story. And this one, I like that the community is established and you just get a chance to get to know everybody a little bit better. I tend to not love books where the characters are in crisis the whole time, and I feel like this one you're really getting to know them all better. There's definitely still a lot of like really tragic and horrible things happening, but it's not a constant fight for survival as much as the first book was. And then I'm still really liking this one. I don't have a lot more to add. It's really interesting. I do highly recommend it, but this combination of particular books is not making me angry like I thought, but it is making me very sad for so many reasons. But I think I'll talk more about this one once I'm closer to being done. But I was correct in putting this off for as long as I did, but I do feel like it should be required reading. exciting because I feel like everybody, I mean, I knew a lot of this, but I didn't know a lot of it, you know? Okay, so with that, I am going to, I don't think I'm going to alternate anymore. I really want to finish Parable of the Talents because I want to read something happy. And this is 400 pages. So if I read 200, I won't quite be done with it, but I'll be really close, which would be exciting. And then I'll probably read some more of this as well. So maybe I won't read like a full 200. I really want to focus on this one today. So that's the plan. I have to go to the bookstore shortly, which is why I'm up so early to do content stuff for the week. And do we have anything going on today? No, we don't. So today might be a good reading day. It's also supposed to be hot. So yeah, that's exciting. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, friends, this afternoon has not gone according to plan. Also, it's fine. It's not a beauty vlog. I don't even know where to start. I went grocery shopping. Well, I attempted to go grocery shopping earlier because we're supposed to go meet friends at a river tomorrow morning, and I wanted to get stuff for a picnic, lunch, and just be prepared for the rest of the week because I didn't really meal plan last week, and it's just kind of been, I'm not living my best life. Because I haven't been organized about our food, and that has just like trickled into all the things, and I don't like it. Anyways, while I was at the grocery store, almost done with my shopping, we had to evacuate because there was a really big fire like a block away from the grocery store, and it's really sad. There was like a car accident and a propane tank caught on fire, and like we're still like, it's been multiple hours, and that area is still evacuated. And so it really threw me, first of all, because those poor people that were in that car accident. Second of all, it flashed me back to like March of 2020 because I was at that Winco when it kind of hit me that, oh shit, this is gonna be bad. This is serious. This is not like, oh, 2 weeks, it'll be fine. Like, this is bad. And also because of all the smoke and like the air quality, because we don't live like in the area that's being evacuated, but like we're not that far away. So the air quality's, you know, not great, which then flashed me back to like the wildfires that we had in the summer of 2020. So anyways, I've just been like spiraling a little bit for the last couple of hours because that just put me in a really like, I'm remembering a lot of things that like I don't like to dwell on. So I spiraled for a little bit, and then I forced myself to work out, hence this situation, but like it's good I did it. I ordered pizza because obviously I wasn't able to like bring home my groceries, and that was like what we were gonna have for dinner was part of those groceries. So pizza's here. I'm done working out. I'm gonna have some food, and then I have like 2.5 chapters left of Parable of the Talents, and I am going to finish this book today because holy crap, is it sad. And it's really making me sad. And if I don't finish it today, I am not going to be picking it. I won't ever pick it up again. Like, that'll be it. I'll just never finish this book if I don't finish it tonight. So that's the plan. Kids are watching Newsies, and I'm going to try to like calm down some more. Exercise helped. I think food will help. I also got myself a Diet Coke as a little treat since my afternoon did not go the way it was supposed to. But now I have to wake up really early tomorrow to go to the grocery store. Hopefully the evacuation order will be over, which I would hope. I have no idea how long a propane tank can burn for. I would hope it would be contained. Well, it is contained, but I would hope it would like be done by tomorrow morning. I don't know, but hopefully the grocery store will be open again tomorrow. But I'll have to go super early because we're supposed to leave at like 9:30 to meet our friends at the river. It's that how I want it tomorrow to be. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, I'm gonna go eat, finish this book so we can be done with this, and I can read something happy tomorrow. That would be, oh my gosh, what a treat. Alright, I finished it. Man, what a sad, freakishly accurate book. I mean, like I said though, it's it's hard. My knee-jerk reaction is to be like, how did she know? But at this point, I have read enough history books, American history books, specifically American political history books, to know she knew, because everything repeats and people try the same stuff over and over again. It's all cyclical. So she wasn't seeing the future. She just had 400 years of history to draw on, and she just followed it to, sadly, its logical conclusion. But this is so good. If you read Parable of the Sower but haven't picked up the next book, you have to pick up the next book. Like, Sower is good, but this, I feel like Octavia E. Butler's talent really shines in this one. No pun intended. But man, is it sad. And hard to get through at times. And sometimes when I read hard books, or really sad books, I can read a little bit at a time and kind of plug away with it, or I have to read it as fast as possible, because if I give myself time to put it down, I won't pick it back up again. And I did get to that point with this, even though it was good. And I read this 400-page book incredibly fast for me. It was still so sad. So sad. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about what happened, because it is book 2 in a duology, and I don't want to spoil anything. I will say that I liked the introduction of her daughter's journal entries, or her daughter's like commentary on her life, and then we still got Lauren's journal entries like we did in book 1. I think it opened up the scope of the story a little bit, and it did feel a little long, just a little long. But I think what makes this book so hard to read, and it's also what makes living in the United States in 2025 so hard for me personally. One of the many things is that people just lie. Like people in power, and all people, not all people, but people can just lie about whatever they want to lie about. And like, how do you disprove a lie? I don't have any answers for that. I think that was the hardest part in here to read, is the way the people in power would just lie. Or not even in power, just people with power, whether it was governmental, religious, just within a family, power within a family unit. They just lie. So guys, I'm really glad I finished it, and I think this is definitely my favorite Butler that I've read this year so far. Because in addition to this duology, I've read Kindred and Fledgling, and this one's my favorite. Okay, I'm gonna go do something else, and tomorrow we get to read something happy. Obviously 200 pages done for today. Easy. I mean, not easy. It took all day, but I finally did it. I didn't fail today. Hey friends. Okay, it's the end of the day. It's been a long one, and I have some reading updates for you. First of all, I'm not to my goal yet. I've read 172 pages today. I don't know if I'm going to get to 200, but I'm pretty pleased with my progress. So let's talk about it. As you will remember from 5 seconds ago, the goal today was to read something happy, and I did. I read the entirety of Cinder House by Freya Marske. This is a novella by her that is going to come out in October, and it's Cinderella retelling, which in the past, Cinderella has been my least favorite of the fairy tale retellings. I definitely got burned out on it in like the 20 teens. I feel like there were a lot of Cinderella retellings. It was a really popular one, and I definitely got burned out on it, and now it's like my least favorite. I typically do not pick up books that are Cinderella retellings, but I love Freya Marske, so I took a shot, and I'm so glad I did. This was 5 stars for me, and it was one of those books where I was thinking about it every time I put it down today, and I haven't felt like that about a book in so long. It's so good. We start with Ella. She's 16, and her father has just been poisoned by her stepmother, and then Ella very quickly dies falling down the stairs, and then she is a ghost haunting her own house. And we go from there. I'm not going to tell you too much because this is only like 130 something pages. It is so quick. It reads so quick. It's so good. I just really loved Ella in this. I love that she wasn't a pushover for her stepmother and stepsisters, and that she really learned how to stand her ground even as a ghost. I liked the rules for the magic. I loved how like surprisingly queer this book ended up being. Like, it was so good. I just wasn't expecting it. I just wasn't expecting the ways in which this book was queer, and they made me so happy. And I just love Freya Marsk's writing. I really love A Marvelous Light, which was her debut. Like, that's one of my absolute favorite romance, like fantasy, historical fantasy romance novels. Like, it was a lot of words, but I love that book so much. And this just reminded me of how much I like her writing and her character work and her ideas. And it was just, when I tell you, not reading this book today when I had to put it down was so painful. And I was just counting down the minutes until I could pick it up again. So I'm so sad it doesn't come out until October, but I highly recommend. I do have a little issue with Tor.com saying that this book is going to cost $24.99 when it's not even 150 pages. What are we doing? Tor. A novella should be like $20 max. Max. $24.99 is highway robbery. But other than that, like, that's a Tor issue. That's a publishing issue. That's not Freya's fault. So love her writing. Love this book. So glad I have an unread book of hers on my shelf, because now I'm even like more motivated to pick up that book sooner rather than later. And then when I finished that, I did pick up Poverty by America again and read 2 more chapters. The thing that's, I think this is really good. I still highly recommend it. It is sad and it is frustrating. And I think maybe the most frustrating thing is, like, in the chapter that I just read, he has plans. Matthew Desmond has thought about this. He has plans for how, like, we could fix the poverty problem in this country, and he has like multiple variations of it. He outlines them. He's like, we could do this, but if that's too scary for people, and he has a lot of disdain for people who would argue with the plan, but he's like, if that doesn't work for you, we could do it this way. We could do it this way. We could do it this way. There are a million ways we could do it, and yet we don't. And I think that's the most frustrating part, is that there is a very easy way to close the wealth gap in this country. And because our political leaders are so corrupt or so mealy-mouthed, like, nobody's willing to do the things to get it done. And I think that's what makes this book so frustrating, is like, sometimes when I read nonfiction about these really big problems, I get frustrated because, like, I agree with their thesis statement, I agree with the message, I agree with the thoughts, but I can't see how we get from here to there, and the author doesn't necessarily offer like a step plan of like, this is how we get from here to there. But Matthew Desmond has a plan. Our political leaders are so greedy and so capitalistic, and business owners are so, not business owners like small business, but like, you know, corporations are so greedy. It's frustrating. Okay, but I have like 2 chapters and an epilogue left. I don't want to read any more of this tonight because it is, in fact, making me mad. So not bedtime reading. But tomorrow is the last day of this little challenge, which is great because I'm definitely feeling a little burnt out on reading. I do read every day. I don't normally read this much. Like, my volume is not usually so great. And it definitely is not, this is not a sustainable reading pace for me long term, but it's good for me. It was good to get me to work through my TBR. Like, it was really motivating. So I'm really glad I did it because it was very effective at accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish. But I'm definitely ready for like a lighter reading schedule. So the plan for tomorrow, I think, and I'm a little nervous about this, but I want to focus on The Witness for the Dead by Catherine Addison, because this is the last book that was on my TBR that I haven't read yet. There are 2 more books like left in that initial stack, but they were bonus books. Like, it'd be great if I got to them, but okay if I don't. So The Witness for the Dead, I pulled this from my TBR jar. I would, and I've been like slowly like pecking away at it. I'm 38 pages in. I'm probably going to read more tonight because it's been my bedtime book. But this book is 232 pages. So if I hit my 200 pages tomorrow, I could finish this. But also, I don't know if you've read Catherine Addison's fantasy. It doesn't read fast. I also haven't really devoted a whole bunch of time to this because I am primarily reading it when I get in bed. But I just don't know if I have it in me to read 200 pages of this tomorrow. We'll see. I'm hoping I can wake up early, and I don't have anything to do until like 10 a.m. tomorrow. So ideally I could wake up early and just like get in a good chunk of reading before everyone's awake, because the days I do that are the days I'm more successful in reaching my goal. And then of course I want to finish Poverty by America tomorrow, which would put me over 200 pages. That feels really ambitious, but it's the last day of the month. I want to get these done. And then I'm debating just not reading A Day, a Fallen Night. I don't know that I'm interested in that book anymore. I don't know if I was ever interested in it. I think I just got swept away in the Samantha Shannon hype, and I had enjoyed Priory, and it's the next book in the series, but it's so long. My bookish hot take is that books don't need to be over 500 pages, and that book definitely qualifies. So I don't know. I don't know if I should keep reading, like if I should give it, I'm 50 pages in, I don't know if I should give it 100 pages, 150 pages, or if I should just admit that that's not what I'm interested in reading right now. But it's queer, so I want to read it. I don't know. I don't have to decide tonight. Okay, this clip's gotten way too long. The plans for the rest of the night are I'm going to color in my new coloring book that you saw in the B-roll, watch some booktube, and then I'm gonna get in bed and read The Witness for the Dead. And then tomorrow we're going to read Like My Hair is on Fire. Hey, it's the end of Friday. I did not wake up early this morning. I slept in. So I have been scrambling all day to get my reading done. Let's start off. I finished Poverty by America earlier today. This is an easy 5 stars. Should be a required reading for everybody, even though it's sad, even though it's frustrating, even though it's rage-inducing. I feel like the more people that read this and the more people who make noise about it, the more chances we have of making changes in the way this country is run. And obviously this is not like a quick turnaround. This is a long haul type of project, but I highly recommend this if you also look around at the way things are run and think it could be better. It could be better. And then I did finish Witness for the Dead just like 2 minutes ago. And I think it's only a 3-star read for me, which is a little upsetting because I do have this whole trilogy and I did really like The Goblin Emperor, and this series is a spin-off from The Goblin Emperor. The Witness for the Dead, actually, it's pretty similar to Hio in that I don't know how to say anybody's name in this book. Thara Selahar, baby Thara, is a witness for the dead, and he is a minor character in The Goblin Emperor. And in this one, he is called to witness for a woman who has died, and it turns out she is an opera singer, and it's basically a fantasy murder mystery, though he does go on like a couple of side quests in the middle to do other things, which felt really weird to be like, oh, we're solving this mystery, and then all of a sudden there's like 2 side quests where he goes to battle a ghoul, and then there's like another mystery with a woman who finds out her parents aren't really her parents, kind of, sort of. Anyways, yeah, so I feel like even though this is only like 230 pages, I feel like this could have been shorter. It was also kind of hard to get into because Catherine Addison like made a whole frickin' world, and at the beginning there were so many fantasy words, but that it felt like word salad. Or I was like, I don't understand what half of these words mean, and it's not because like I don't have a good vocabulary or a sufficient understanding of what a lot of words mean. It's because she has so many fantasy words between the places and the sayings and the expressions and the people. The people have multiple names, and it took me a long time to really settle into this world and to what everything meant. And I think it was maybe the first 30 pages where I was just kind of lost trying to navigate who everybody was and what everything was. So I felt like, and that even having read The Goblin Emperor, though admittedly I think it's probably been about 2 years since I read that book, but still I don't remember being this lost at the beginning of The Goblin Emperor. I remember The Goblin Emperor being pretty easy to read. I did really enjoy that one, and I enjoyed that one because Maya, the main character, is so easy to fall in love with and root for, and I didn't feel that way in this book. And I don't know if it's the writing or the character himself, and it's in first person, but I feel like I didn't really get to know Thara hardly at all. He felt like very much a blank slate type of person with not a lot of personality to him, which is really sad to say because this world is so vibrant and well thought out, even if it is confusing. Like, I could tell Catherine Addison has fully like thought of this world. Like, this is a full world to her, and Thara in comparison just felt really flat. So I'm gonna have to think about whether or not I want to continue on with this series, given that I didn't really enjoy this one. I definitely need like a character to root for and to attach onto when I'm reading a book, and feeling like I didn't have a lot to invest in makes me not excited to continue on. And I didn't love the murder mystery. Like, I think this whole idea of this person who can not communicate with the dead, but can hear what the dead are saying shortly after they've died and communicate that to the outside world. Like, Thara goes to, at the beginning, he's talking about how he goes to the readings of wills a lot to make sure that the will that is being read is what the deceased intended, and therefore he is very unpopular because sometimes families lie. And then he also solves murders. And I think Hio was more entertaining and just as well thought out as far as the world is concerned, but it was just so much easier to root for Hio and her brother and all those characters. They just felt so much more three-dimensional than Thara felt, sad to say. So I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the series. I have to think about it. But finishing these two books means I have finished my TBR for July, except for Day of All Night. We're not going to talk about that. And that's really exciting because I genuinely did not think I was going to make it. I thought I was either going to have to like roll a bunch of books over or try to fit them in other months. So the fact that I finished is pretty delightful. And I'm really excited to start August tomorrow with a clean slate. So thank you so much for watching and for spending your precious time with me. Let me know what you thought about these 200 pages a day challenge. Do you like these kind of challenge videos? Do you think I should do it again? Should I go for 250 since I kind of made it to 200 every day? And also, I did this without audiobooks. I cannot remember the last time I went this long without listening to a single audiobook. It is so unusual, and I feel like I would have been more successful if I'd had audiobooks, but they just weren't available, and I definitely did not want to spend money on this vlog, so it all worked out. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, I don't know. Let's leave the money flying away emoji, and like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye!